We hope you enjoy this episode because we are a couple of go-getters with a real skill for... This is how my resumes go. Welcome to HowDoWeHuman. It's the podcast where we overanalyze all the weird and uncomfortable micro moments in life. And I'm one of your hosts, Evan Cox.
And I'm the host that's on that friggin' grind set every day, Chris Binning.
Grind set mindset. I was looking for, time management. We're very good at time management, as I'm an hour and 15 minutes late to recording this with you.
Yeah, it might be a short one.
Maybe that's why I couldn't think of anything to say in that moment. But before we get to that moment, let's stay in this moment. Let's be zen and recenter and focus on what's important, which is Chris and how he's doing. So I ask, Chris, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. I mean, we are recording this pretty close to when we recorded the last episode, so not
That's
a lot
true.
of new stuff has come up. But I did come across a post on Instagram that is of a post from Reddit that I'd like to share. This almost is going to be less of a how you doing and more of a throwback to our old plugs segment, because this gives me an idea.
Let's go.
This is on r/Chipotle.
Great.
Chipotle employee kept telling me to call heads or tails when making my bowl. He called himself Mr. Cent. He kept flipping a quarter with gloves on, by the way, which I think is unsanitary, then asking me to call heads or tails before giving me portions. If I got it right, he'd give me like 6 scoops, but if I got it wrong, he'd refuse to give me any. I paid $12 for a, quote, steak bowl with no steak and what appears to be 16 scoops of corn. Is this a new promotion? Now, granted, I think this story's fake. But
a lot of stories are now.
I do find the idea of it fascinating. Like, I want to open a restaurant now, probably on the Vegas Strip, maybe Atlantic City. So one of those big gambling towns.
Yeah.
And you know what? You got to gamble for your meal. You know, oh, how much of this do you want? I won't. Maybe
sick
I won't
how
go
much
with
I like
zero,
this already.
Right? Isn't that a good idea? Like,
not like I want to invest in it. Like I want to do this.
Yeah, I mean, this seems like a safer environment for gamblers to get their fix.
There's something to it.
Yeah, I haven't quite worked out all the details, but I think it's a good idea, and I will be looking for investors. I know you said you don't want to invest, but I'm going to use this podcast and our massive listener base to hopefully get some investors in on my gambler restaurant.
All right. Well, I just opened a new savings account, and there's $100 in there. So,
oh, give it to me.
Okay. Is that investing?
Yeah. Evan, I hope we didn't just blow your story right there with the breaking HowDoWeHuman news that you have a new savings account. I hope that wasn't your whole story. Evan, I want to know how you doing.
I'm doing all right. I made a post on Reddit about an experience at Chipotle and got roasted on a podcast. So the other day, as I always start these, the other day, and by the other day I mean yesterday. I'm becoming redundant.
That's closer than I thought it was going to be.
Yesterday, I was at a hardware store. I think I've talked about this specific hardware store before, because it's always it's in a real industrial looking area. Like all of the buildings around it's a lumber yard, a hardware store, a metal whatever shop, a high school metal shop,
Yeah, a heavy metal shop.
a heavy metal shop. Um, and so it's not like walking into Home Depot or whatever. You walk in and everyone there is not working there, but like, we're on the job, we're construction workers, going to a job, we're getting stuff. And I always feel like kind of a dope walking in there, just being like, in this case, I need 3 washers. And it's coming up with a little baggie. But the way this place works is that I will reverse tell you how it works. You go to the back, and there's a bunch of loose screws and loose nuts and loose washers and nails, what have you, anything you could desire. And they have little plastic baggies, and you fill that baggie with what you want, and you have to write on the front of it what the item, it says item number, amount, cost, etc.
Do you walk in there and go, "Hey, do you guys have a couple of loose screws?"
Anybody have some screws?
I know I do.
I know a party you could go to. It's just me and my friend, and we have tea.
Yeah.
We're all
Cute.
mad here. Anyways, so I go back there, and normally I go back there, there's no one there. It's a small little aisle. I can spend my time, and I do, because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I like to pick out a screw and be like, is this what I'm looking for? Because I don't fucking know. But this time I kind of immediately found what I was looking for. But not only were there people in there were 2 employees. Now, I hate an employee in a hardware store until I need them, and then they're nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
But if I don't need help, I don't want to be anywhere near.
Get away from me.
Get away from me, because it's going to be, what are you looking for? And I have to go, I don't know. You can't help me, I swear. But there's 2 guys, and they're in the middle of a conversation. So I'm like, okay, maybe this is fine. I find the washers I need, but I'm listening to the conversation because they're very close to me. And they're going like, where did it even start? Like, I think I just clued in because there was a keyword that triggered me. I clued in. The second one of them was like, no, it's like, remember the whole Wayfair thing? And the other guy goes, yeah, oh my God, with the kids, people were buying furniture and there were kids in them. And like, that was so crazy. Like, I look crazy, but I'm not crazy. Some people are so weird. I'm just like, holy shit. Okay, so these are 2 people, and it's not an angry conversation. It's not like political. It's just 2 people that genuinely believe the Wayfair thing and genuinely believe it happened. And then that guy's like, it's like, remember the Pizzagate thing? I didn't know about that. You guys told me about it. I couldn't believe it. Man, people are wild. I'm just like, Jesus Christ.
There is a reason that stuff is so hard to believe.
Yes. Now here's the rub. Like a bank, these hardware stores have their pens on a chain. And there are 2 stations. One with the baggies and the pen. One directly in front of these guys. And one over by the washer I need to get. I grab a bag. There's no pen on the end of the chain. I need to get in the middle of this shit. Be like, can I use your pen really quick? I do, and it was fine. I'm mostly just saying that because it sucked. I wanted nothing to do with these people.
Of course.
But there was a mild continuation of it. So their conversation I left. I didn't hear the rest of it. I'm like, good riddance. But I go to the front counter. It was a warm day on the mountain. A reminder, I live a little under 6,000 feet up a mountain. Feet? Is that the word I'm looking for? Yes.
Yeah. Pretty sure.
Doubt crept in for some reason. I have doubts. So I go to the front, and there are like 5 employees all at the front. Again, this is why you can't get an employee when you need one, because they're just all sitting there talking about how hot it is. And I forget exactly how the conversation went. It's not that important. But essentially, the guy that was checking me out said, like, they were discussing, like, why is it so hot? Like, it wasn't supposed to be, and it was like a gray this morning. And the guy checking me out said, well, on the mountain we get 19% higher UV rays or something along those lines. Like, he just gave a fact. He gave a fact. And the
Okay.
woman that was talking in the first place says, like, well, yeah, I know that. And the guy was like, I just made that up. And she had to go like, oh, really? Oh, he's like, yeah, no, it's just a completely made up number. Like, okay. So,
all right, this guy rules.
this guy ruled genuinely. And I mean, no, I'll say it, because that hardware store is not listening to this. I've had a lot of bad experiences with the people that work there. This might be the first person that I've just been like, this guy rules. And he checked me out, and he was funny. We had a good conversation, and he was just giggling the whole time. But it's just like, man, I don't like it. I don't like how quickly people just believe something they hear, and can hear someone
Yeah.
say something and go like, well, obviously I know that. I've always known that, because it's a fact. Dispiriting.
Yeah.
Assuming that's a word.
I think so.
I feel like it's a word I've used a lot, and I'm just now second guessing myself. Just like I do every time I send in a resume.
Yeah, is there anything more dispiriting than our jobs?
I'll look this up real quick. But you continue.
This is a topic that we've kind of had swirling around for a little while because, you know, the elephant in the room. We are both thankful
Elephants.
we have jobs, but would really love to leave those jobs. But in order to do that, you gotta touch up your resume and send it into a bunch of places. You gotta upload your resume and then separately type in every piece of information that is already on your resume into separate text boxes.
Fucking LinkedIn.
It's the worst. Why do I have to do it twice? I already did it.
It's the doctor scenario where you fill out the paperwork just for the doctor to ask you all of those questions again.
Yeah. I don't understand it. It is not the thing that discourages me most about job applications and resumes. The thing that really bothers me is references. I hate the idea of being like, can I put your phone number down, and if somebody calls, you say nice things about me?
It's terrible.
I hate that.
There is something to time having passed and having had more jobs that it's easier now to, I'm a nice guy, you know, I'll make a lot of enemies at every job I work. But I think at every job I work, I have at least one supervisor that does think very kindly on me and knows that I'm a hard worker, regardless of the industry. But man, when you're getting started and it's just like, you're trying to get that first job and you need to put a reference on there, and it's like, well, my science teacher, like, genuinely for me, it was, right. I was a TA in Mr. Thompson's science class for 1 or 2 years. I'm just like, we're going to have to count that as work experience, because this is what I got. Otherwise, it's like, I feel like at a certain point, I was like, I just got my neighbor as a reference because she'll say nice things about me.
Sure.
It sucks.
Yeah, it's I feel like I am on good terms and have been on good terms with all of my past supervisors, but I don't like keep in touch with them enough to be like, of course I remember their phone number, of course I have their up-to-date contact information for when I apply for a job 10 years later or whatever. Like,
We didn't, I don't think we touched on this with the apartment hunting episode semi recently, but like it's the same thing with that, where it's just like, what's
yeah.
your landlord's phone number from when you were 19? Like, fuck you.
I
You
have
think I
no
just keep
idea.
that all in a box somewhere?
Yeah.
I don't have that information. Sucks.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know where that all comes from.
No,
Um,
but with how much has changed in the applying for jobs world via LinkedIn and Indeed and Monster, whoo, uh, you would think anyone would just kind of like, companies have adapted. They've proven they can adapt.
right.
They no long most companies no longer even accept paper resumes. So, like, can't
Yeah.
we all just, I don't know, there are just certain parts of the process that suck and don't really show any merit.
Yeah, it felt like when I was in high school, when I was just starting to get to working age.
Yes.
I remember my parents were like, "Yeah, just print out your resume and take it around to some of these businesses."
Same.
But it felt like that was right around the time that businesses were starting to move away from that. But like, so they'd come out and they'd be like, "Yeah, okay, we'll keep this in mind," or whatever. Like, are gonna call me.
That checks out, because that was like, I was right in the tail end of it, and then it all felt stupid because I also was given that gig to just like, well,
Yeah,
now your job is to go out from place to place with a stack of resumes and just hand them out. And it was accepted, and it wasn't better. It was,
right.
I got face to face time. I guess that's good. I'm just not good at first impressions.
Yeah, there's that aspect of it, and then there's also like the age that we were doing that.
Yeah.
Like, nobody wants to hire you anyway, so
No.
it doesn't really matter if you go place to place, because everybody's like, "Oh, you've never worked anywhere before. Why
That's
should I be the first place you work?" It's like,
yeah.
because you need a body. Like, what are you talking
That's always
about?
my argument. What's your greatest strength?
I'm
I have a body.
here.
I'm corporeal.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Corporeal? I'm doing great
yeah,
with words.
you
Dispiriting
got
is a
it.
word, by the way. So
Great.
corporeal.
I think we've talked about this a little bit too, where like, I don't know if you feel the same way, but I definitely grew up under the assumption and still subconsciously feel like I should just I should just find a place to work, and then that's where I work until I retire.
Right.
Businesses, as they adapt, um, want to treat you worse and worse over time instead of rewarding you for sticking around.
Yeah.
It
There's something
feels
to it.
like, anyway. And all
Even at
those,
Walgreens, it's like I hit 5 years and I got a little pin. That was
yeah,
something.
yeah,
And if I were to hit 10
um,
years, I could pick a gift out of a little booklet.
yeah. And there's, oh no, I lost what I was gonna
I
say.
ruined it. This is my fault.
No, it's okay for you to contribute on this podcast,
You're
Evan.
saying companies, the longer you work there, the shittier they treat you.
Yes, the LinkedIn influencers and
Good
that
Lord.
ilk,
What a world.
who the grind set mindset folks. Many of them say that the best way to make more money and to advance your career is to constantly job hop every, I think it's 3 to 5 years, I think is
Yeah.
what they say. That
And
sounds exhausting.
it sounds terrible.
And you
And
constantly got to be updating that resume.
I've mentioned it before, and my younger sister has absolutely done this in her career, and she makes so much more money than I do. And just started another new job where it sounds like she's respected and well compensated. So,
Wow.
I don't know.
As someone who doesn't have either of those two things, that sounds amazing.
It might just be the strategy: hop until you drop.
Yeah.
But that does sound awful, being like, "Oh, I'm 60, I'm not at retirement, but I do still need to hop and find a new job."
Are your opinions on actually having, like, what to put in your resume? Are you somebody that puts a lot of skills in your resume? Are you all past experience? Are you, no matter what, it has to be one page? So maybe I take things out. Maybe I make the font really small. Or what are your thoughts? Do you
You
put a
start.
big old picture of your face on there so you stand out? A headshot on one side and the resume on the other?
That would be nice. I love this question. That encompasses all the awkwardnesses of putting together a resume. I think out of those, the one hard line, I do keep myself to one page.
Yeah,
I don't know. Feels important. Nobody likes a staple
that's
or
true.
a PDF with an extra page.
Yeah, with
I
an
don't know why
extra
it
page
fucking
that has 2
matters
lines on
anymore.
it.
Let's just keep it under. It's like a movie. Keep it under 2.5 hours, and it's
Yeah.
fine. uh, there. I mean, where do we start? Here's the big thing that's on my mind right now: is the last time I up. I mean, we'll talk about that. Updating resumes in general, like actually having a job and keeping a resume updated, I find incredibly difficult, and I stay at every job for like 5+ years. So by
Yeah,
the
me
time I'm
too.
looking for another job, I'm just like, this is ancient information and useless, and I have a lot of work to do. But I did update my resume a little while ago, maybe a year ago,
I
and
think that's when I did mine too.
I've really, like when you're young, whatever, you just Word doc, words on a page. I didn't put a lot of effort into making it look like nice. I made it look as nice as they taught me to make it look at Elma High School computer classes or whatever fucking class that was. And so when I got like into my early 20s, I was like, okay, I'm going to put a little effort and, look around the internet. Like, what do other people do? Oh, okay. And I thought it looked like nice and classy. I go for a classy resume look, classic, simple, basic. The way I like to keep a lot of things in my life. I'm a basic bitch. Header, name, contact info, a nice crisp little red line. All the past 3 jobs with little blurbs about what I did at those jobs and how long I was there, and then a skills section with a handful of skills. This past year or so, when I was doing this, I happened to be, I think that, or maybe it was longer than a year, because I think it was before we were living up here. My girlfriend and I were at her family's cabin, which is nearby here. And she's a graphic designer. I've probably mentioned that before. And I mentioned I was working on my resume, and she's going like, "Hey, let me add that shit." And I'm always gonna like bristle at that because I'm an idiot. It's just like, oh,
Yeah.
accept help from a professional. But I'm just like, I mean, I don't think graphically that's the problem with my resume, like, is that it doesn't look good. And I showed it to her, and she's like, "Yeah, it doesn't look good." So, and got reminded, like, it's true. People nowadays being able to submit a resume on an app, these companies get thousands and thousands and thousands of resumes, and it does kind of matter that yours looks presentable, because they might just be flipping through these things. And so she,
Well, yeah, I mean, they're only going to look at the first 50 to 100 maybe, and that might even be a
probably,
generous number.
yeah,
But yeah, of the ones that get in there first, you want it to stand out.
above the crowd, even if I gotta shout out loud.
Yeah.
My resume's the only thing you'll see because my girlfriend made it for me. So she completely reconfigures it.
Just put a big old like all the text is over a slightly transparent power line from a Goofy movie.
Transparent power line. That's what I thought I was putting at the top. The little red line. That was my power line.
Yeah.
She completely reconfigures it, and it looks. It's like you look at it and go like, "Oh, well, yeah, clearly that's better." I mean, I wasn't gonna do that, and it doesn't look crazy. It does still look nice, but it's just like compartmentalized. It's very clearly not just a Word document. It's like there's my name up here, but then it's like the jobs are here, and then to the side of it, there's a list of skills, and this over here. It's just like more graphically pleasing. I don't think I've had a chance to send that puppy out yet. I may
Well,
never, but it's
you
there.
got to get that puppy out there. We got to see how it fares against those other dogs.
Yeah. Oh, mine's just a puppy. It's so new.
I I also updated my resume like a year ago, and then have subsequently talked myself out of applying for different
I
jobs.
think that's what happened with me too.
Like I know I want to leave the job I have, but I I'll see another job and be like, yeah, maybe I could do that, but I don't know. I have a vacation in 4 months and I know I can get the time off with this job, but what about this other job?
Yeah.
Or what about, this job is not working with customers, which is nice, but it sounds like you're working with snooty rich people, which I don't know if I want to do that. Or
No.
I don't think I'd be working with this person, but I know the head of this company is a bad person. So do I want to work and have to tell people, oh yeah, I work at that company that has a famously bad boss, even if I don't directly interact with them?
Yeah, I'm
I guess I
Kanye
better just
West's
keep.
assistant. What of it? I
Yeah,
know he's bad.
I know he's bad. um, but so I'll talk myself out of all of that and just stay in a job that I'm not happy in. So
Same.
I need to figure out a way to get past that before I can start sending out my resume. But it sounds like before you got your upgrade, it sounds like you and I have similar looking resumes. A
Mm-hmm.
classic look with
Yeah.
the name and contact up top, then some jobs, education, some skills in there.
And also a
Um,
blurb. I forgot to mention a blurb.
oh yeah, that I'm glad you mentioned the blurb. The little like summary of who I am as a little worker.
Let's see if I can find mine. 'Cause it
What
probably
I don't
sucks.
know. It sucks.
It probably sucks.
I just like I should just type in I'm a good worker
Yeah.
and just leave it at that and see what see which jobs are like. Yeah, all right.
Yeah. If I were, and I think I have, oh, I've got them right here. I think I've mentioned it before. Like, I've been on the other end of this only once for one position. And I wasn't like the supervisor, but I was good friends with the supervisor and assisted in a couple of the interviews and in going through the resumes. And it's a weird process being on the other side of it. And you do find like something like a typo does just make you go like, yeah, that's a That's in the trash. So these
Yeah.
things do matter. I apparently am an accomplished digital content manager with 15 years of experience in video and marketing, with a drive for guiding teams to success by utilizing emerging technologies. I like them apples.
Yeah, them apples are okay. I
I don't like them.
it it's like a baby version of the thing that really drives me nuts.
Ooh.
And it's job postings have this a lot now, and the grind set culture wants you to do it on your own resume, which is overly flowery language to the
Yeah.
point of being confusing. Um,
Yes, thesaurus speak.
yes, when it's like, instead of just being, like, I worked as a cashier. Okay, we all know what a cashier does. It's like, no, we want you to say that
As a
you were
cashier, I
an
aspired
ambassador,
to yes.
liaison with clientele, and like,
my fingers adorned the keys of a POS
yeah,
system between 2008 and 2011.
yeah. And I had such a passion for taking money and then giving out change, like we all know that we need jobs. Like,
Yes.
why? I get like a very basic, like, what is it about this company that makes you want to work here? Like, I get why that question exists. But man, so many of these job posting things are like, we want you to worship at the cult of our business.
Yes, 100%. Here's a question, though, that just came to mind, which
Great.
feels relevant to some of our other interests. Would you rather?
Okay.
So, would you rather query? Would you rather stick with the same old? It's just like you type up your shitty resume, you send it around, you feel bad about it, but someone might bite one of these days. Or we take a little something from the actor life, and we can do video resumes.
You self-tape your resume?
Self-tape a resume. Hi, this is Evan Cox. I'm real cool. You should hire me. Or put me on Survivor if you have connections. It's tough.
Maybe I'd go with self-tape.
What if you could edit it?
I think that self-tape has a lot of... Oh yeah, if I can edit it before I send it in, 100% of self-tape. But I think that self-tape would cause cause many more problems in the workplace. Just on a bad basis of who is in charge of hiring and the types of people they dismiss immediately.
Yeah.
So I think that would maybe cause more problems, but for myself, I would prefer it. I feel like you get a better sense of who I am, and I'm not as nervous in an interview, or as I would be in an interview if like my first impression can be cultivated a little bit more to how I want to come across. But I don't know. I think it's also tough when I'm even though I am a good worker, my opinion of work and our capitalist society is really taking a big nosedive in the last 8 years.
2 months.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's every time I think I'm like, yeah, I'm anti-work, something else happens, and I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, now I'm
I
anti-work.
think there's another
And
word
then something
for
else
it now.
happens. I'm like, now I'm anti-work.
But speaking of cultivating an image, this
Sure.
also just popped up because I was looking at my old resume. I want to talk a little bit about the gentle fib that we
Sure.
all engage in at one point or another in our careers. Not one specifically, just in general. Like, stretch the truth a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm not lying. I might just be mildly exaggerating how much a part of my job this was.
Sure.
Or anything like that. The big one, which I no longer do, but when I was younger, I had a little, believe it or not, a little chip on my shoulder. It's hard to believe. I went to film school and I graduated. And, well, I still have a chip on my shoulder about this shit. I graduated and I got a certificate. And then the very next graduating class, they had changed it to a degree program. It was an accredited school after I left. And the same amount of work that I put in, I could have a degree, which sucks. And we didn't have the ability, we were not just like fully grandfathered into that. Like, hey, look, you got a degree. But it was like, oh, you can take this and go to, I think it was Shoreline Community College and do a bunch of, math and English and base credits and get a degree. I was like, well, I'm not going to do that because it's still going to cost so much money. So whatever. I was very on the like, I guess I just going to force my way through this career without a degree. Which really, it's the same as having dogs and looking for an apartment. It's like you're really stabbing yourself in the foot right from the get-go, and you gotta say, I'm not getting most of these. But that certificate that I got is very misleadingly called a master's certificate. I have a master's certificate. So I never said on a resume, I've got a master's.
Right.
That would be a touch too far. But I did always put that word in there. Just say master's certificate. And so, if it misled someone, it did. And that's fine. But when you don't have a degree and you have I could show you a piece of paper that says, I have a master's certificate. Why not? If it'll help get me a job. I have stopped just because it feels dishonest and I don't like it. But
I have that a little bit too. I took the professional program in screenwriting, or whatever the title of that program is called, at UCLA, a 1-year program that is just for screenwriting.
Damn.
But as I apply for jobs in the Southern California area, I'm like, you know what? Maybe I should have UCLA on this resume.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll help.
100%.
Even if it just gets somebody's attention. It's something. If they want to ask me any questions about UCLA, I probably won't have the answers because I was there 1 day a week for a year, in one building in one room. So it's a little bit questionable, I guess, but it's not a lie. I did take a class there and got a certificate.
I think, it's the same thing. It's as long as there isn't this requirement and expectation of it. It never is asking, and it is different now that it's through apps and online fields, pre-placed fields, where used to be just put whatever the fuck you want on your resume, but now you have to. It's never asking like it'll ask, what degree do you have?
Sure.
And I would say none. And that's how they catch you. But past that, it says schools. And as I joked about a couple episodes ago, it sounds like you've got a laundry list of colleges that you can put on a resume if you want. Why the fuck not?
A laundry list of 2.
Two.
Yeah, you're right.
The guy who didn't do colleges. It's a lot. Infinite more.
Yeah, I mean, I think, we've both touched up our resumes, and we want to send them out once we find places that feel worth sending them out to. So maybe there will be an update on how these resumes go. But my big hope for companies is that they don't make me upload my resume and then input all that same information
Yes.
all over again. Just input it like this. This should be a thing that we can start using AI for.
Yeah.
Let AI scan my resume and tell you what I uploaded. Like, don't make me type it all out again.
This is the thing. But that's not what they're going to do with AI. And
No, they're going to use
instead-
it to make music and movies and art. And
But this is, I was reading a story about this, scandalous, that the number of kids at school cheating, writing essays exclusively with ChatGPT is like growing, and there's like very little way outside of like eyeing something. Like, that's a weird turn of phrase that I don't think
Yeah.
that kid would make. There's no real way to verify that at the moment. I don't know. I mean, AI is a tool that would be helpful in writing a resume, I would think, as long as you're not dumb and can weigh what's given to you, whether it's good or not.
Sure.
But in that terrible, terrible game of like, especially with jobs, with the job section, where I'm like, I try to max it out at either my last 3 jobs or my 3 most related jobs to what I'm applying for. And each one you got to say like, hey, this job, my duties were this, this, and this. And like, if I'm applying for a video related job, all 3 of those are going to be video related gigs where I did the exact same fucking thing at every place.
Right,
But you kind of need to,
exactly.
it's just a stupid game of like, well, I can't just copy and paste like I did video editing on each of them. You have to write a little stupid blurb. And that sucks. And it might be nice to just write a sentence and say, hey, ChatGPT, do this 3 different ways. Okay, perfect. Plug that in.
Yeah, I guess I am still much more anti-AI than you are, but
You can't use it for anything.
I just, it's that you give a mouse a cookie kind of deal or whatever that old story is.
Yeah.
You give a mouse a muffin, I believe.
You give a moose a
some
muffin,
other animal
but
gets
if
the
you
cookie.
give a mouse a cookie,
Gotcha.
yeah, don't get your wires crossed.
I stopped giving these animals our desserts. I want to eat them.
Okay, I'll let you update my resume. He's hungry.
While I update Evan's resume, the thing I want all of you to do is check out this podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Pocket Casts, HowDoWeHuman.com, anywhere that you get your podcasts. Rate, review, comment, subscribe, follow. Hey, we're still looking for 5-star reviews.
We are.
It's been in hundreds of episodes since we've asked. We're still looking for them.
We're still looking. I'm going to look right now.
You can also check us out on our social media at HowDoWeHuman on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. And you can also send us an email to howdowehumanpod@gmail.com.
Boom. He did it.
Did you find any
No.
in your search? Great.
Nothing.
Now it's time for a little quiz. We are still 4 points apart, Evan. You have 78 points. I have 74 points.
Okay.
And I know that you know this first question.
Oh, good.
And maybe I know it.
Maybe.
I think I do, but I definitely don't have I know for sure you know it, and I think that I know it. Question number 1. Who is the lead singer of Foo Fighters? Dave Grohl, James Hetfield, Little Red Riding Hood, or Dave Mustaine?
Okay. I do know this.
Okay, I think that the answer is Dave Grohl.
Okay.
So that's my
It's
answer.
Little Red Riding Hood. No, of course, it's Dave Grohl.
All right, Evan's answering
It's
Little
Dave
Red
Grohl.
Riding Hood. Yeah, Dave Grohl was correct.
What alcoholic drink is made from molasses? Whiskey, gin, vodka, or rum?
This also feels a little more tailored to you, I feel like.
Maybe. I'm not positive. I've got my answer.
I have... I'm in between 2. I think I'm going to be wrong, but I have my... Well, okay.
All right.
Is this a typo? Does whiskey have an E in between the K and Y normally?
This is
no?
it's a difference between American whiskey and Canadian whiskey.
I see.
One spells it with an E, one spells it without. I can never remember which is which. I think without is Canadian.
I would think so. I would think that we would put the E in there.
Got it.
Okay, I'm between whiskey and rum, and I was going to go whiskey, but I think I'm going to end up settling on rum.
Rum is my answer.
Okay, let's find out.
Okay.
Rum is correct.
I think rum is the only one. I'm just like, I actually don't know what that's made of at all, but it's sweet, so that would make sense.
Yeah, that was exactly where I went to.
Sweet.
In what year was the video game company Electronic Arts founded? 1982, 1999, 2005, or 1981?
I mean, tough to know. I'm familiar with the company.
I'm ruling one of these out immediately.
Ooh, interesting.
And I have my answer, but it's probably incorrect.
I'm going to say 99.
That's what I'm saying as well. It was 1982.
When was Elvis Presley born? there it was. It's me, Elvis. July 18th, 1940. I mean, I don't think we're going to know the day. I think the year's all that matters here. July 18th, 1940, April 17th, 1938, January 8th, 1935, or December 13th, 1931.
Look, I have no idea.
Yeah.
I have the answer I'm going to go with, but it's a complete shot in the dark.
Yeah, okay. I'm trying to do some time math, but yeah, I don't know for sure, but I've got an answer.
Well, okay. Hang on. I may have changed my answer. Man, this is going to piss me off when it's the one that I was originally on. But I think that I will jump ship and go with April 17th, 1938.
Okay. Yeah, stick with where I was going. December 13th, 1931.
Okay. The one that I jumped from was July 18th, 1940.
Okay.
It was the one that we didn't mention.
All
right. This is the last question.
Let's go.
What French sculptor designed the Statue of Liberty? Henri Matisse, Jean-Léon Gérôme, Auguste Rodin, or Frederick Auguste Bartholdi?
Damn. Two of these sound right to me.
This is definitely something I learned
Yeah.
at some point in my life.
Same. But I don't know.
And I am similar to you between two. And
I'm going to stick with my
I
first
have the one I'm
answer.
going to go with, but I'm not sold.
I'm going to say Jean Leon.
I'm saying Frederick Auguste
I think we were just both
Bartholdi.
between the two Frenchest sounding names. I got
And
it.
I pull out ahead. That does mean that the point differential changes slightly, Evan. I mean, you still have such a strong lead that it's not a big deal.
Yeah,
but
everything counts.
the score is now myself with 77 and you ahead by 3 now, as you have 80 points.
Okay. Nice round 80.
We are 20 points away, Evan. In theory, 4 more episodes, and you could win the race to 100 points.
That'd be cool.
That'd be cool. You'd have to do 4 weeks of 5 in a row.
I don't know if I've ever won a race. That's something to think about.
Yeah.
Maybe that's another episode.
Yeah. Racing. Race. Just call it race. Well, these two white guys are doing a podcast about race.
If you think about it, racing in itself is a kind of race war. It's a competition.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
And some races are better than others, right? Because some are too long, some are too short, some have obstacles.
Yeah. I'm going to race to end this episode because we got to go.
Okay, bye.
Okay.
I won.
Fuck.